Mr. Chairman, sir, we are ready to go live when you are. We are ready when you are.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone, to the, I guess, short meet, not limited meeting of the Department of Transportation for July and, well, no, we're in August, aren't we? So, what we in? But anyway, thank you all for coming. And Mr. McIntyre, would you ask to do the invocation, please?
Yes. Father, we thank you for this day. We ask you to be with us as we deliberate the business before us. We pray, Father, for our leadership and the men and women that work every day tirelessly to provide the best, safest roads in the country. These things we pray in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and welcome to everyone. And I think we got the month right now. No. So anyway, it's been a great few days around us at home. So I just want to say it's a pleasure being here, and we'll ask now for the roll call.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go by congressional district. Ms. Purcell? Present. Ms. Williams?
Here.
Mr. McIntyre?
Here.
Mr. Henson?
Here.
Did you hear me?
Ms. Key? Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
hear me? This is Stacy. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We got you. Thank you. Mr. Stoner? Mr. Stein?
Present.
Mr. Golden? Ms. Dunn? Mr. Boswell?
Here.
Mr. Lewis?
I'm here.
Mr. Snipes?
Here.
Ms. Lemon? And Mr. Gravely? We do have a quorum present.
Thank you very much. This time I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the June board minutes of the June board meeting. Do I hear a motion? Hear a second?
Okay.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay.
Ah.
Thank you very much. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. And I'd like to ask for Mr. Shelby. How are you, Mr. Shelby? Good afternoon. Gives a report on the projects for the August meeting. Excuse me.
So again, good afternoon, Chairman Boswell, Commissioner, members of the board. I'm here to present the projects the department is proposing to advertise for the August 2026 letting. Before we present the August 2026 letting, here are the final FY 2026 results. We have let a total of 320 projects in fiscal year 2026. This chart shows the number of projects by improvement type. The value of these 320 projects is approximately $3.2 billion through the June 2026 bid award, which is a banner amount. Of the 320 projects, 308 GDOT let for an approximate value of $3.1 billion and 12 that were local let for an approximate value of $103 million. This chart shows the dollar amount distribution by improvement type, with roadway and maintenance projects making up the bulk of these improvement types. Here are the results of the June 2026 letting. Of the 28 GDOT let contracts that were presented to the board, 26 were awarded and 2 were withdrawn. Now I'm going to discuss the projects in the August 2026 letting. We have a total of 27 projects in this letting, 24 GDOT let, and 3 are local let. The next 3 slides list these 27 projects ranged by congressional district. Page 1, page 2, and page 3. So as you can see with this slide, we are letting a variety of projects throughout the state to address maintenance, capacity, and safety issues. The first highlighted project will replace the aging bridge on Canaan Bay Road over Tiger Bay Creek in Brantley County. The existing bridge, which was built in 1981, has developed several structural issues over time, including wear on the support piles, erosion around the abutments, and deterioration in the beams and deck panels. Replacing this bridge is essential to maintaining safe and reliable access for local residents, school buses, and emergency vehicles. The new structure will address current deficiencies and ensure the roadway can continue to serve the community safely for decades to come. The project was supported by state general funds for rural bridges. And here's a ground view of the bridge and images of the structural element deficiencies. This next project will convert the existing signalized intersection at State Route 247, which is US 441 Pionono Avenue and Anthony Road in Bibb County. We're going to convert it into a single lane roundabout. This one is located in Macon, and the project covers approximately 0.4 miles and is intended to improve traffic flow and reduce conflict points at this busy junction. This next project will improve the intersection of State Route 410, which is US 78, and Mountain Industrial Boulevard in DeKalb County. The work includes installing a narrow median along Mountain Industrial Boulevard from Greer Circle to Elmdale Drive, making operational improvements at the US 78, US 410 interchange, and realigning both exit ramps to add turn lanes for better traffic flow and safety. This next project improves the intersection of State Route 42, which is Moreland Avenue, at United Avenue and Skyhaven Road in Fulton County. It will realign Skyhaven Road to match up with United Avenue, creating a safer and more efficient intersection. The work also includes adding left turn lanes on both northbound and southbound State Route 42 approaches, along with new pedestrian facilities and lighting to enhance safety for all users. This next project is a local let, which is the widening of Post Road in West Forsyth County, a 3.64 mile improvement between State Route 9 and Kelly Mill Road. This project expands Post Road from 2 lanes in each direction to 4 lanes total, 2 in each direction, with a 16-foot raised median and a 45-mile-an-hour speed design, bringing the corridor up to modern suburban arterial standards. The design also includes urban shoulders, curb and gutter, and sidewalks on both sides, 5 feet on the west side and 10 feet on the east side, improving safety and multimodal access for residents and commuters. Post Road is a critical north-south connector linking neighborhoods, schools, and employment centers. By widening the corridor and improving access management, this project will reduce congestion, enhance safety, and improve travel reliability for the thousands of drivers that depend on Post Road every day. This next project will resurface a 7.03 mile segment of State Route 127 from Gray Road to State Route 247 in Houston County. This work aims to improve the roadway's low pavement condition score and extend the service life in the corridor. Here's another resurfacing project for 8.84 miles of State Route 17 from State Route 385 to the White County line in Habersham County. This work is intended to improve the corridor's low pavement condition rating and extend the roadway service's life. This next project will construct a single-lane roundabout at the intersection of State Route 8, which is State Route 53, and Jackson Trail Road in Barrow County. The new roundabout will replace the existing all-way stop to improve traffic flow and safety within the 0.4-mile project area. It includes a 150-foot inscribed diameter and a 20-foot circulation lane. An off-site detour is proposed for the construction of this particular project for the roadway profile changes and the replacement of an existing culvert just south of the intersection. This next project is the widening of Cass White Road, a 1.6-mile improvement to one of Bartow County's most critical industrial corridors. This project expands Cass White Road from a 2-lane rural roadway to a 4-lane divided corridor between Bush Drive and Great Valley Parkway. It includes a raised concrete median, bike lanes, and sidewalks on both sides, and it converts the Great Valley Parkway intersection into a single-lane roundabout to improve safety and traffic flow. The project is supported through a funding partnership with state general funds, a federal congressional directed spending award, and local funding from Bartow County. Cass White serves the Highlands 75 Industrial Park, one of the fastest growing manufacturing and logistics hubs in Georgia. The corridor supports major employers and suppliers tied to regional advanced manufacturing operations, including companies supporting Qcells, the solar energy manufacturer that has become one of Bartow County's most significant economic drivers. Freight volumes are already among the highest in the region, and industrial development continues to accelerate. By expanding capacity and reducing conflict points, this project improves freight reliability, reduces congestion during shift changes, and strengthens workforce access for thousands of employees. It also enhances the corridor's competitiveness for future industrial recruitment, ensuring Bartow County remains a premier destination for manufacturing and distribution. This next highlighted project will resurface a 4.91-mile segment of State Route 8 from Ronald Reagan Parkway to Lawrenceville-Suwanee Road in Gwinnett County. This work targets improving the corridor's low pavement condition rating and extending the roadway's service life. And finally, we want to highlight the award of the I-16 widening project, which is the largest non-P3 project ever awarded by GDOT at $468 million. This slide outlines the upcoming widening of I-16 stretching from I-95 up to State Route 67. The corridor is absolutely critical for our coastal economy, serving as a primary link for both regional commuters and heavy freight moving west of the Port of Savannah. The core of this project involves expanding I-16 from 2 lanes to 3 lanes in both directions, eastbound and westbound. As highlighted on the map, this work spans 4 key counties, Bullock, Bryan, Effingham, and Chatham. We have selected the joint venture of C.W. Matthews and McClendon alongside Infrastructure Consulting and Engineering to deliver this monumental effort. To maximize value and efficiency, we are utilizing a variable scope delivery methodology. This allows the project's limits to extend from I-95 interchange westward to approximately 3 miles past US 280, optimizing the total lane mileage we can improve within our allocated budget. This long-term transformational investment in Georgia's infrastructure that will dramatically relieve congestion and support our state's continued economic growth. And with all those mouthfuls, we have 27 projects for the August 2026 letting. 24 GDOT let and 3 are local let. This chart shows the distribution by improvement type. The estimate of the projects in the August 2026 letting is approximately $170 million. This chart shows the dollar amount distribution by improvement type. I now ask for your consideration for approval of the proposed projects presented for the August 2026 letting.
Thank you, Mr. Shelby. I'd like to ask for a motion and a second to approve the August letting.
So moved.
Your second.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Shelby.
Thanks, sir.
Mr. Markham, I see you on the way. Going to address our revisions to the construction work program. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Chairman, Commissioner, members of the board. I'm pleased to come before you this afternoon to present proposed revisions to the construction work program. I have one revision to bring to you today. I brought this to you last month for the first time for review. It's an addition to the program in Jackson County, Congressional District 9. I'm bringing it back to you today for recommended approval for addition to the work program. Be happy to take any questions. Otherwise, ask for your favorable consideration.
Have any questions regarding the Springs Church Road project? If not, we have a motion to approve this. So moved. Okay, we have a motion to approve the revision. All in favor? Do I have a second? Excuse me.
Second. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Commissioner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and ladies and gentlemen of the board. I believe we have got rusty from our COVID days. So I really appreciate everybody being virtual today. And of course, the reason that we did this was the last FIFA game was played yesterday here in Atlanta, for Atlanta, that is. There's still one more to be played. And I can attest by coming into town late last night that it was busy. So I believe we made a good choice, and I appreciate everybody's flexibility to try to lessen the traffic impact. The lead by example, I suppose, is lessen the traffic impact, and we're able to accomplish that by being a hybrid meeting today that we got really good at, but we've gotten a little rusty at it, trying to pull it off again. So thank you for everybody's patience, and we will persevere. So let me get into our normal reporting here, and I'll start with the funds collection. And I remind you that the fund collections that are reported are on a lag. So as you recall, the Governor Kemp's executive order suspending the motor fuel tax ended on June 2nd. So we're still getting June reporting to us to report out here for July. So the state collections for the month of June were $25.3 million, which most every bit of that was in transportation fees, a little bit of excise that comes out of some audit and some adjustments from the Department of Revenue. That brings fiscal year to date of state general funds to $2.14 billion, $1.87 billion in excise, and $267 million in transportation fees. So looking back to the prior fiscal year at this time, with the suspension of that gas tax, we're about $342 million less. That's not a surprise at all, but I remind you that our budget has already been set, and our budget is fine going forward due to the suspension, so no worries there. I thought I would highlight again, Albert did a great job outlining some significant projects to be let or that were let, especially that I-16 project. Again, only made possible by the governor and the General Assembly approving that state general fund money for freight usage, putting it in our freight program. And as you can see, $468 million. We had $500 million in 1 year for that freight program. So that one project consumed almost the entire, it actually will consume the entire budget of state general funds for 1 year that the legislature put in there. Of course, they put another $500 million at the governor's budget as well. So we would not be able to do that project and that project like the Cass White Road in Bartow County. It's in Congressional District 11. Jeff Lewis certainly knows what a busy interchange that is. We heard about truck parking. There's truck plazas on that interchange. There's major industry with Q-Cell. It's just a major growing area. And so, again, without that additional funding in the governor's budget and the General Assembly, we would not be able to help a local government on a project like that that has significant benefit to the state. So just incredibly important to think about these opportunities that we have that came from Governor Kemp's leadership and the General Assembly, putting additional money into our budget. Now let me move into next our employment data. As we finished up June of 2026, we had 4,067 FTEs. We hired 71 employees, and we had 40 employees separate. Now, here's separations by retirement. I always like to now highlight these names and certainly share our appreciation for their dedication and service to the department. As you can see, these range from 9 to 34 years of service. And if you were to add all those up really quick, you'd see there's 266 years of institutional knowledge that are leaving the department. And we certainly want to wish them all the best in their new pursuits, but always important to see. It makes me feel a little bad that Kedrick Collins and myself, the guy with 34 years, we went to college together. So great job. And he retired as district traffic operations engineer. But you can see their names. Let me move into procurement. As Albert mentioned, as we report out on June data, it is the end of the fiscal year. So for fiscal year 26, we're going to end up at almost 2,000 contracts executed. In fact, 1,959 contracts executed at a value of $858 million to advance projects. In June alone, we advanced 119 contracts valued at $30.3 million. So that is a true high number, I believe. We'll look back and see if that is the record, but it's got to be darn close for that. And we certainly appreciate Maria Rue and the whole procurement team for what they do to help all the offices around the department work through the procurement process to get the services we need to advance projects. Now we'll move into some projects that opened to traffic last month, and we'll start in congressional district order in District 1 down in Wayne County, which is the Jessup District. And this project was a construction of a bridge and approaches on US 84 over Little McMillan Creek in Wayne County. The contractor was underground excavating, opened up to traffic just the very first part of June, and it represents a $9.6 million capital bridge replacement project. And you can see the great work there on US 84. Now we'll move over and a little bit to Congressional District 2 in Marion County, which is GDOT District 3 based out of Thomaston. This was almost 16.5 miles of capital maintenance investment for milling and inlay and resurfacing, and also rehabilitating the shoulders on State Route 26 in Marion County from the Chattahoochee County line all the way to the Sly County line. So we got the entire county was paved on State Route 26. The Scruggs Company was the contractor. They finished up and opened to traffic on June 30th, representing a $7 million investment. Now we'll move and stay in GDOT District 3, but move to Congressional District 3 in the Coweta County. And this was a project that was a bridge replacement and about half mile of approach work on State Route 54 over Bear Creek in Coweta County. And when you look at this picture, you'll realize it's not a creek, it's a reservoir. And so North Georgia Concrete was the contractor, opened up the traffic on June 12th, and represents a $16 million investment there on State Route 54. And you can see the expanse of the work on the reservoir itself. So not just a normal bridge over a creek, but at the reservoir itself. So this project opened up ahead of schedule, and I should have said the Marion County project did as well. Now we'll move over into Congressional District 8 in Baldwin County, over in our Tennille District. This project represents a bridge replacement, a capital bridge replacement on US 441 business over Fishing Creek there in Milledgeville, which is Baldwin County. Griffin Grading and Concrete is the contractor. It opened up on June 4th and represents a $29 million investment. And you can see sort of the tricky work that had to be done in a very complicated area there. And certainly we now have a nice, strong, safe bridge for a long time. So that concludes the projects that we had open to traffic, or just highlighting a few of them last month. And so glad to do that. So let me transition into a little bit of some updates of things going on here around the department. And I'd like to start with just a couple of key personnel changes and updates, all triggered by Mark Masternardi announcing his retirement effective the end of this month. After 33 years of dedicated service, Mark has worked throughout construction almost his entire career, being the division director of construction before becoming the deputy chief engineer, supporting program delivery in the P3 division. Mark's asked that we not do anything officially to recognize him, and he does not want me to even say these nice things about him, but he's not here. He may be watching, but you're not here. So Mark has certainly been a great leader. He is so well respected in the construction industry. His work in the P3 division and working on innovative delivery through design build and P3, he is now a national leader, seen as a national expert in the P3 space for his work that he has been doing. And so we certainly are very sad to see him go. But with his succession, we're excited about announcing that Hiral Patel, who is currently the director of the P3 division, will assume his role as deputy chief engineer. And of course, Hiral brings over 30 years of wonderful experience to the department, having served in many roles through her career, from construction and environmental into project delivery, and now leading the P3 division, among other things. So glad to have her become MEG's deputy chief engineer. And with that, Tim Matthews will succeed her as the division director of P3. And he was currently, or prior to this, assistant P3 division director already. And of course, Tim's presented before you many times and has done a great job leading in the innovative delivery sector. So just wanted to bring you up to date on some of these updates. Tim's got over 23 years of experience here at GDOT. So just certainly want to acknowledge their great work. We're very sad to see Mark go. And certainly he will be greatly missed, but I have great confidence in Hiral and Tim stepping up and continuing to lead and do the great work that they've already been doing. Now, let me move into update and an announcement. GDOT was very honored to take part in the 2026 Proximo Congress. Now, Proximo is not our traditional transportation event that you may hear about. In fact, you may have never heard about it. It's actually geared toward the U.S. energy and infrastructure finance markets, bringing together both commercial and financial institutions. Think about people like S&P, Standard & Poor's Global. Think about people like Fitch Ratings or ING, KeyBank, and other big financial institutions. That's what this conference is about. I was very honored to be there to present a workshop on a case study of the State Route 400 Express Lane project, and everybody wants to know how we accomplished that project. And I was on a panel with folks from J.P. Morgan and also with KeyBank Capital, and we talked through not only the engineering part of that, but the financing part of that. As you remember, that State Route 400 was the largest municipal bond sale in 2025, with $3.3 billion of private activities bonds sold, and had a demand of 1.7 times the bond amount with over 90 investors. So it was the biggest municipal deal in calendar year 2025. So that was one of the reasons we were recognized and given an award as Proximo's North American Deal of the Year for transportation. So it was amazing to see, again, the $3.3 billion of private activity bonds coupled with $3.3 billion of private equity and $3.8 billion of a TIFIA loan to State Route 400 Peach Partners. So we were very honored and even put on our best dress there to accept the award at the Proximo Conference. And also a big shout out and thank you to the State Route 400 Peach Partners team, which did get to financial close in August of last year, and the USDOT's Build America Bureau, which made the private activity bonds and the TIFIA loan possible for State Route 400 Peach Partners. While we're talking about federal funding, let's stay on some other good news. We're very pleased to announce that the department has been awarded a grant of $21 million, a bill grant, to install cellular vehicle to everything, or CVDX, equipment and fiber communications across freight areas in the greater Savannah and Brunswick area. The USDOT's bill grant provides federal funding for projects with significant local and regional impacts. helping state and local agencies advance transformative transportation investments. The bill grant totally issued $1.73 billion across the nation for 127 projects. We were very excited that Georgia was one of the recipients. What this project ultimately will do is to install 58 miles of conduit and fiber optic communications cable and approximately 500 freight vehicles with equipment. We can outfit approximately 500 freight vehicles with equipment for drayage and freight movement in and around the port of Brunswick and Savannah for better on-time reliability and safety. The onboard units that go in the trucks are basically communication devices that will be able to talk back and forth to the infrastructure, to the signals. So you heard Alan Davis earlier this morning give you a connected vehicle and technology update. This plays right into our plan of, again, trying to advance technology for efficiency and certainly for safety. So we're very excited to receive this FY26 bill grant award from the USDOT. Let's stay on the USDOT for a moment. On Monday, June 29th, that was the 70th anniversary of President Eisenhower signing the Eisenhower Interstate System Act, or the Interstate Act as it's known. As we know very well, the interstate system was transformative for this country, how Americans travel, obviously for national security and for commerce. It was really a great honor to be asked to speak at the Library of Congress on the 250th anniversary of our nation's founding and also the 70th anniversary of the Interstate Act being passed. I would say that's a couple of historic days, and I was very honored to be able to participate. The event was hosted by USDOT and Federal Highways Administrator Shawn McMaster, as served as sort of reflect on the interstate system and what the future might hold as well. So myself, Texas DOT Director Mark Williams, and Nevada's Secretary of Transportation Tracy Larkin Thomason was able to speak there. We all three took a little different approach to what we talked about. I shared about Georgia's involvement in the interstate creation through General Lucius Clay, who was President Eisenhower's trusted advisor. He was really made famous for his work in the Berlin airlift, if you recall that part of history. But he was a close advisor to President Eisenhower and actually worked with Congress to come up with what ultimately was passed as the Interstate Access. And then not only that, Interstate Act, but not only that, he was the one that was charged with implementing the construction of the interstate system because there was no Federal Highway Administration when this was passed in 1956. And so if you ever want to know what General Lucius Clay looks like, there's a photo in my office. You can feel free to come by and I'll point him out with him and President Eisenhower. So certainly a great day. But additionally, as you can see, it's hard to see with the picture there, Federal Highway wanted to celebrate Freedom 250 as been done in D.C. Obviously, the 4th of July is passed now, but there was a lot of lead up to Freedom 250 celebrations across this nation, which was fantastic. And on the screen, you can see a sign that Federal Highway has asked that we help to commemorate the 250th and the 70th anniversary of the Eisenhower Interstate System. And so it was a real privilege, again, to celebrate 250 and the 70th here in Georgia, as many other states have been done as well. And, we were given a little bit of a challenge. Can we get these signs put up? And if you look around closely, you'll start seeing a few of these signs. But it takes a great team to make things happen. Easy to come up with an idea, but we really need the people to make it work. And I just want to highlight the great work the sign shop I can't talk. Want to highlight the great work the sign shop does on a daily basis. You heard from Jeff Stone earlier today from the Office of Equipment Management. It takes a lot of people behind the scenes to make things ultimately happen. And the sign shop's a great example of that. Thought I'd show you this little video and how they're proud of being part of 250 and the 70th.
State Sign Shop manager out of the State Maintenance Office for Georgia Department of Transportation. We here at State Sign Shop are responsible for fabrication for 20 signs needed to be installed in the state of Georgia. we start the process, we receive the file, and we load the file in our design software. We review the image to make sure the image is respect what that was provided. We send the image to our digital printer, which we have a digital printing process that we have here at GDOT. So it's very great to have because it helps with production, productivity. It helps with quality product. So once we send the file, the design file to the printer prints it out, and we have the print that we need to continue the process. The lamination process is very imperative because of the UV and the elements out in the field. It will allow the sign to have longevity and more life. After the lamination process, we will bring this laminated print to the floor, which we have a applicator table. We utilize the applicator table to adhere the substrate or the laminated print onto the metal, which is raw aluminum that we use here at GDOT. Second phase of the process that will put us closer to completion. We will coordinate with the field district offices and sign shop, coordinating pickup from MAU Forest Park sign shop. And then at that point, they will do an installation in respective locations where these are requested to be installed. And after they're installed, then the project will be done. If you got the room,
All right. Again, a great job by our sign shop. It's neat to see what all it takes to make things happen. And so I'm going to tie this conversation back to John Hibbert's presentation to you in the committee of the whole, and for something that you're going to take board action on relating to the manual uniform traffic control devices, which is the standardization of signs across the nation so that a stop sign in Georgia looks like a stop sign in Alabama and Florida and Alaska, for that matter. And so that, if you notice that sign, the 250th and the 70th sign is not in the MUTCD. I'm sure you've all looked that up. And you're saying, how has that happened? It actually took Federal Highway's special approval for us to be able to install that sign. So again, a very special thing of the 250th and the 70th, and Federal Highway allowed for that exact design. We had to make it that exact design to be installed. So just a little bit of a tie to his presentation earlier today. And I was going to share too, while at the Library of Congress, which was a wonderful day, they had a curated presentation of sort of historical transportation documents laid out, and they had people to basically tell you that what was that information and why that information was being on display there. And they actually had, John would like this, they actually had the first manual uniform traffic control devices. It looked like it was at least about 30 pages. And I believe John said we're over 1,100 pages now. And the fascinating thing was some of these books, they would actually let you touch, or they would thumb through them for you. And all the signs back then were yellow with black. There was stop signs were yellow. Yield signs were yellow, but the octagon shape and the triangle shape existed all the way back in the first manual. But as I was telling somebody earlier, I'm not sure that they had red paint. I think it was 1929. So anyway, sort of fascinating to see how all these things are interrelated. But I just thought I'd share that little tidbit with you. Okay, the next slide is up. And I bet most of you didn't know that yesterday was the end of football season in Atlanta. But it was for that kind of football. We are looking forward to the other kind of football soon. But as I said in the kickoff, yesterday was the 8th and final World Cup match to be played here in Atlanta. And by all accounts, I'm going to say that Atlanta just knocked it out of the park, hosting the 2026 FIFA events here for over a month now, right solid out a month today, in fact. And yesterday's semifinal match was certainly fantastic between England and Argentina. I mean, it was a close game all the way to the near end. And wow, did the fans turn out. I think downtown was probably the busiest it's been in a very, very, very long time. You saw many social media posts. It was just packed out, and really neat to see such a great event. And I'm going to tell you, it's been a team effort that the GDOT team's been a part of for almost 2 years now. And that team includes Atlanta DOT, certainly GEMA, Homeland Security, Economic Development, the City of Atlanta and the City Council, and certainly the Sports Council, the Atlanta Metro Chamber, Atlanta PD, people over at the World Congress Center. I guess we can say Mercedes-Benz Stadium now. There it was just a stadium for a while. In fact, the FIFA president came to a match in Atlanta, Gianni Infantino. I'm sure I got his name wrong. He basically commented how Atlanta was one of the overall top host cities for traffic operations and security. He probably said that everywhere he goes, but we know he meant it while he was in Atlanta. So our Signal Ops group did daily reports tracking the performance measures every day on the critical updates and things that were going on and sharing that information. And I'll just like to give you a few little tidbits, but let me tell you just a little bit about the the leadership team of Sam Harris and Justin Hatch and the whole traffic ops team just did such a great job. Here's a few little data points for you. There were, of course, the 8 matches that I mentioned. There were 19 official Fan Fest, and we supported the safe and efficient movement in more than 1 million fans. Think about that. More than 1 million people attended those. We managed 150 plus team and VIP escorts throughout the tournament using signal timing. That's where when the teams moved and even the referees moved, we ultimately knew their routes and were able to control the signals so that they never had to stop for efficiency. And I know you're thinking, I would like to get that as well. See Meg afterwards. And then the other thing we've done is looking at how we looked at limiting travel time increases, knowing that there was an influx of traffic. And we wanted to make sure that we managed the best we could. And so we wanted to make sure that there was no more than 50% more travel time than a typical day before. And we even exceeded that by only about 71%. So we didn't even take more than double the time, if you'd say, or more than half. The other thing was daily throughput. We looked at how much more traffic, right? 24% more traffic in the event areas, but the travel time increased by 3%. That's probably a better way to say it than I said before. So yeah, 24% more traffic, but only 3% more travel time. GDOT's 511 website saw 250,000 hits, 69% increase over a typical month. The other thing we talked about, and you had presentations on before, was how we're using technology in and around the downtown area, using LiDAR, which is that laser scanner, to help us understand pedestrian movements. Again, it's not taking photographs of people, but you can understand images. And there was 37,000 fans per game crossing Northside Drive. Just think about how many pedestrians that is to move and the time it takes. We've tracked 13,000 plus interstate incidents over the last month, resulting in 6,000 hero assist. So all the unsung efforts that people don't see to have a smooth, happy experience going to and from the events, the watch parties, and all the festivities that were going on downtown. And I'm going to tell you, the GDOT team knocked it out of the park. I'm so proud of all their hard work and what they've done. It's really probably certainly is the biggest thing since 1996 Olympics. And wow, has technology changed since then as well. So again, just a couple of things I reflect back on is we had a plan. So we planned the work and then we worked the plan. And yes, there were many things that gave us headaches. There were things that happened, unforeseen things, but our team adapted, adjusted, and the public never took care of business. So I hereby declare that GDOT's efforts were a victory, and we're moving on to the finals. Actually, we'd just like to stay right here in Georgia. New Jersey can have the finals. So anyway, but congratulations to the GDOT team, to the city, and everybody involved. Truly a big team effort to pull something off of this size and scale. let me conclude in just updating you again on some impacts here to the department that certainly are impactful and certainly are a loss for the department. And that's losing 3 employees here at GDOT. The first passing of an employee was Howard Walker Jr., who passed away while he was on duty. Howard is just Highway Maintenance Technician 1 down in the Talbot County Routine Maintenance Crew in GDOT District 3. He just joined the department back in May and had recently just started his 2nd month there in District 3, and unfortunately had a health event and did not overcome that and passed away. The second employee loss is James McCory, who's a longtime GDOT employee, 27 years in fact. He was the assistant district maintenance manager in District 7. He passed away over this past weekend due to a brief illness, and certainly James will be a tremendous loss to the department. I've known him for a very long time, and certainly will be a huge loss. And then lastly, unfortunately, Dante Lamonte Wanton there, who is a District 5 employee, tragically drowned at the beach in Jacksonville. And so, again, just a tremendous amount of loss here in the department this month, and just wanted to share this and ask that we take a moment of silence to remember them and their families, but also their coworkers here at the department. These are people we build friendships and relationships with and spend more time with them than we do our families often. So if we just take a moment of silence and remember them, please. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry to conclude on such a sad note, but these 3 gentlemen certainly deserve our thoughts and prayers. I'll be glad to entertain any questions and comments.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments for Commissioner McMurray? You did such a good job, sir. No one has any questions. And I would like to say, on behalf of the citizens, how great it was that how successful the World Cup was in Atlanta, and what was thought of by what you all do to move traffic in a great way, in a safe way. And I mean, I can't imagine how many people were up here traveling, walking the streets and driving, but thank you and your team for what y'all did. It was fantastic. Okay, next, Mr. McIntyre.
Yes, the Program Delivery Committee convened on July the 16th at 10:30 a.m. Board members present included Committee Chair Jeff Lewis, Jamie Boswell, Dennis McIntyre, Ann Purcell, Kathy Williams, Steve Henson, Stacy Key, Joe Stein, Dan Snipes, Dana Lemon, and Michael Gravely. First order of business, Kenneth Franks, the state TIA administrator, presented an annual update on the status of the Transportation Investment Act in its 4 active Georgia regions. Some highlights from the 2026 include 195 projects advanced into construction, 103 projects completed in construction, and program expenditures exceeding $237 million. Projects initiated in the program's first decade, called TIA 1, continue to progress through the construction phase. Sales tax collections for the program's current second decade, called TIA 2, continue to outpace the original forecast for each participating region, allowing project scheduling to be accelerated. To date, TIA has collected over $2.9 billion to support transportation improvements projects in the TIA regions. The second order of business is Ryan Endorf, Assistant Director for Strategic Planning and Policy, and Charles Robinson, Assistant State Program Delivery Administrator, provided an update on the department's truck parking expansion program. Ryan began the presentation with a general program overview, highlighting the importance for truck parking expansion in the state, along with key findings from a GDOT Office of Planning led truck parking study. Charles then provided a brief overview of the currently programmed truck parking expansion projects, including estimated cost, and highlighted the complementary Intelligent Transportation System, ITS, efforts currently underway being led by the GDOT Office of Traffic Operations. The presentation concluded with an overview of expected next steps for the program. No actions were taken in this committee, and the committee adjourned at 11:14. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Next, I'll give the Committee of the Whole report. The Committee of the Whole convened on July 16, 2026 at 11:14 a.m. Board members present included myself, Dennis McIntyre, Ann Purcell, Kathy Williams, Steve Henson, Stacy Key, Joe Stein, Jeff Lewis, Dan Snipes, and Dana Lemon. First order of business, Matt Needham, Emergency Management Assistant Operations Coordinator, highlighted GDOT's hurricane preparations, including new bridge procedures, evacuation maps, and updates to the web EOC application. Second order of business, Jeff Stone, State Management Equipment Administrator, gave an overview of the Office of Equipment Manager, OEM. This included asset life cycle of equipment. This included asset life cycle of equipment and vehicles, the CDL program and field services, including mechanic training, safety training, snow and ice maintenance, and preventive maintenance. Third order of business, Alan Davis, Director of Operations, presented the department's efforts in roadway digitalization, focusing on recent updates to its advanced traffic management system, digitalization, and ongoing initiatives to improve work zone safety. GDOT, along with other states across the country, is advancing national efforts to enable connected work zones on our interstates. This transition is anchored by the implementation of work zone data exchange to proactively combat the critical human cost of work zone failures. Initially championed by Commissioner McMurray through AASHTO and with the U.S. DOT, this National Digital Control Initiative aims to build fully connected, interoperable interstate corridors and serving as the anchor state for the I-75 corridor. Georgia's strategy leverages V2X investments and interstate fiber design build projects, bringing online cross-border situational data exchanges with neighboring states. Fourth order of business, John Hibbard made a presentation to the Committee of the Whole concerning a recent revision to the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, or the MUTCD. He gave some historic background about the MUTCD and how the board has passed a resolution in 2024 to adopt the current version, the 11th edition. He provided some examples of technical corrections and editorial changes that were made to the MUTCD and answered questions that were asked by the committee. He advised the committee that the entire board would be asked to consider passing a resolution to approve the revision and any subsequent revisions to the 11th edition at this afternoon's board meeting. The committee adjourned at 11:58 a.m. This concludes my report. Now, at this time, I ask for a motion from the full board to approve the revision to the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices.
So move.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Motion carries. Thank you very much. At this time, I would like to ask Ms. Williams. She wanted to speak to the board, to the committee.
Thank you.
This is yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
I just want to make a brief comment. I know several of us have gotten calls from interested parties on the bills that passed the legislative session this last year about school cameras. And it's complicated, but the most pressing issue is the fact that the cameras that were permitted with the schools had those permits suspended effective July 1st of this year. And that is pursuant to the law that passed OCGA 40-14-18 that basically stipulates that schools cannot be the permit holder. It has to be the local governing authority. So I want to thank GDOT leadership because they put in place in fairly quick order a mechanism or a process to facilitate these permit transfers to that local governing authority. And once those transfers from the school to the local authority have been completed, then GDOT would be able to reinstate the permits that comply. I also just wanted to make a final comment on this subject that the public comment period is still open, and we want to encourage all interested parties to submit their comments for consideration. That's really all I wanted to sort of state because I know it's difficult with us all sort of, in various areas to take these phone calls. So I thought that would be the easiest way to do it. But before we conclude our meeting, Mr. Commissioner, I also want to add my voice to the applause of how the state of Georgia and specifically GDOT has handled FIFA and the World Cup activities. I have heard this in the last 48 hours. I've heard from numerous people just saying, I wish the finals were in Atlanta because they absolutely did it right. So thank you to the whole team that did that from myself as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Yes, Mr. McMurray.
Thank you, Ms. Williams, for the comments on FIFA and your comments on the ATESDs, we affectionately call them. Thank you for reminding everybody that there's a public comment period. We will certainly be responsive to those public comments, inform you before you are to take action on the modification to the board rules. So we will have more information coming back to the entire board before you become actionable. So the plan would be in August. So thank you very much for that reminder.
Thank you. Yes, I have a question, Commissioner. So the permits have been rescinded. Current permits, is that?
I may need help, but we've sent out notice to all permit holders who are schools to ask them to work through the transfer process such that they can be transferred. So technically, the way our understanding is that when the law went into effect July 1, there was nothing contemplated in the law about a transition period. The law was signed in May. We got in front of you in June to promulgate rules. There was not 30 days between June and July, so to do a 30-day comment period. So we're in a little bit of a lurch. So I can understand some of the concern that could be there. But there is, on July 1, the permit holder becomes a county. And so Meg's standing up. I appreciate phoning a friend.
July 1, the law states that the permit holder must be a local government. So if the permit holder is a school board, we've sent them pretty simple paperwork to transfer that permit to a willing local government. And hopefully they can get that done quickly. And then the permit will be no longer suspended because it will be.
So according to the law, we really have no leeway in extended it past that date.
I would say, Mr. McIntyre, we've been trying to extend grace in the fact that instead of saying everybody starts over because of a law change, that we acknowledge there are existing permits held by schools, school boards that have to go to a local government. So we try to put a process in place to make that happen. Because again, in the law, there was nothing contemplated about how do you go from one to the other. And I think there's obviously we've got comments that have come in. We were going to process those, understand those, and try to get the right balance here for safety, in the name of safety again. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on that? Okay. At this time, I'll have the read under new business. At the May meeting, the board voted to place the proposed salary increase for the commissioner on the agenda for formal action at the July board meeting. However, to ensure that the board has gathered and considered adequate information before voting, the vote will be deferred to a later date. Thank you very much, and thank you all for coming, and have a safe trip home. We stand adjourned.